Fred, thanks for coming in. Let's first talk to you about, wasn't India a bit late into this game? China's been at it for a while now.
Well, India is late to the development game in general. We've seen only the Indian economy take off really 4 or 5 years ago, and its resource intensity has grown exponentially since then, but it's only now reaching a critical stage where policymakers need to think long-term into where they're going to get the resources from to continue this growth surge.
Well, China being so well ahead of it, it doesn't have many options left to it.
Well, China obviously is already well ahead of the game. In Africa, for example, the Chinese have already established themselves very well. They have acquired oil fields and many of the resources. And there are not that many resources left for the Indians to really pick from.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's really all been picked up. But there are still some left, and I guess the exploration efforts will continue to rise, and therefore India is trying to pick up what it can.
Rather, there's a reason why some of them are actually not being exploited, and that would be just the inhospitable places they're in. Let's take Afghanistan for one thing. I mean, the US Geological Survey coming out and saying we're talking about $1 trillion worth of minerals here.
And one is political risk, and the other is environmental risk. And the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico is a reminder that offshore drilling is potentially very dangerous. And there are still vast reserves and offshore of Africa, for example, but are difficult to exploit. So I think from a political perspective and an environmental perspective, the field is sort of narrowing as to where you can really exploit resources.
So where does it go? I mean, where is India going to be looking?
We're continuously going to push the envelope, if you will, particularly on technology. I think we'll find that new technologies will be developed, and also hopefully in some cooperative manner. I think one fear that's out there is that political tensions could rise. I don't see that happening quite yet, but it's obviously in the far distant future as a possibility.
So what does actually India in particular need? Where is it got the shortfall in terms of the commodities? Which ones does it need most?
Well, primarily it's iron ore, coal, and crude oil. Those are the three primary commodities that China really requires, and that India increasingly requires as well. India has started its own onshore exploration, but is nowhere near enough to really satisfy the demand of the growing economy. Just looking at car sales in India, they're growing at double-digit rates, and oil consumption as a result is growing very fast as well.
Well, there just isn't enough oil to go around anyway, is there?
Yeah, I guess over the long term we need to think about alternative solutions to this. And I think the Indians in particular have thought very hard about building smaller cars and fuel-efficient cars, but even that might not really make the deal here. We have to really find an alternative way of generating energy.
Well, that's probably a long way off from that as well. Thank you very much indeed, Fred.